3 minutes. It was all the sky needed to issue a warning that many ignored, but that now echoes around the planet. A decision made in silence by U.S. authorities has raised a global alarm. The Panama Canal, one of the world's most strategic commercial hubs, has been completely closed. Before we begin, stop everything for a moment and think with me. Why are so many strange phenomena happening at the same time? Blackouts without explanation, sounds in the sky, red-tinged skies, signs in the heavens and the depths of the earth. Is it really a coincidence? And if all of this is part of something much bigger, something that has been predicted for centuries? If you also feel that the world is changing rapidly, then this channel is for you. Here we reveal the signs that are being ignored. We connect the dots that no one else wants to show. If this topic intrigues you, go ahead and leave your like and subscribe now so you don't miss any details of what is about to be revealed. Because the truth is closer than ever. Gigantic ships, laden with valuable cargo, are now motionless, trapped in a cold and dark limbo. The question that no one wants to ask is starting to take shape. What was discovered there, beneath the waters that unite oceans? It's not a mechanical failure or diplomatic tension. Confidential sources speak of something much greater, something never recorded by sonars or satellites. A hidden anomaly, possibly prehistoric, or of unknown origin. Military teams and civilian experts were rushed to the scene. But since their arrival, silence has been the only official response. What did they find? Ruins of a forgotten civilization? A portal? Or something that challenges the very limits of human understanding? As if that weren't enough, an unprecedented winter storm plunged the United States into absolute chaos. Temperatures collapsed in a matter of hours, plummeting 40 degrees in a single day. Cities like New York and Chicago are facing deadly snowstorms. And even the warm southern Texas succumbed to the ice, with power grids failing and millions without access to heating. However, in the heart of this supernatural winter, a sound, or rather a call, began to echo through the skies. Metallic sounds, distorted, almost like apocalyptic trumpets, cut through the icy nights. Videos appear all over the country, and those who listen to them feel something that cannot be explained with words, as if an invisible presence were moving over us. What is happening above our heads may be more than mere coincidence. Inexplicable metallic sounds, resembling distorted trumpets, echo in the night sky of different regions of the United States. And now they are accompanied by flashes of pulsating lights and luminous spheres in shades of blue and white that appear and disappear in a matter of seconds. Meteorologists tried to attribute the noises to atmospheric electrical discharges, but the accounts of those who witnessed the events tell another story. In the American Midwest, residents say they saw flashes cutting across the sky just before sudden blackouts left entire cities without power, as if something invisible were draining the strength of the electrical grids. Meanwhile, observatories and laboratories are recording subtle yet persistent distortions in the Earth's magnetic field. This anomaly has been growing precisely during the same period when storms are intensifying, bringing with them climate chaos, absurd temperature drops, and large-scale technological failures. Coincidence? Or is something moving, silently, but with global impact? Millennial prophecies describe signs in the skies and turmoil in the seas as warnings of an imminent collapse. And these signs are not new. Years ago, similar sounds were recorded around the globe. In Jerusalem, spectral trumpets echoed over the Dome of the Rock, causing panic. In Mexico, identical noises preceded a catastrophic earthquake. Now, with these sounds spreading again across various American states, it is impossible not to connect the dots. The pattern goes beyond the skies. Animals are acting strangely. Birds in uncontrolled flights collapse from the sky. Whales and dolphins mysteriously strand themselves. Dogs howl at nothing. Could this be a sign that natural instincts are detecting what human sensors cannot? Surveillance cameras captured unsettling images during the height of the snowstorm. Shadowy figures crossing the landscape at abnormal speeds, like apparitions from another realm. Could they be manifestations of something that lives between dimensions? Or would these be the visitors described in ancient writings? In the Gospel of Luke, it is written, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon and the stars, and on the earth, distress among nations, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves." This phrase now resonates like an echo from time itself, because all of this has already been warned. Could it be that what was once only read in the scriptures is now unfolding before our eyes? In recent days, simultaneous blackouts have hit major urban centers in the United States. Washington, Chicago, and entire regions of California were plunged into darkness without any warning. While authorities claim infrastructure failures, witnesses report a different scenario. Bluish flashes crossing the sky seconds before the power outage, as if something beyond comprehension were directly interfering with the power grid. The inevitable question arises: are we dealing with a natural phenomenon or signs that escape science? The unease intensified when climate experts revealed a massive solar explosion recorded in recent days. The spot, larger than any seen in the past decades, released a wave of radiation directly towards Earth. Satellites and communication systems were impacted. But some believe the impact goes beyond technology and extends to the very balance of the planet. Could the heavens be trying to tell us something? The scriptures speak of signs in the sun and the stars, but also of changes in the waters. And the oceans now scream in silence. In several coastal regions, dolphins, fish, and seabirds have appeared dead in alarming numbers. Scientists are seeking explanations, but the pattern repeats. The waters are changing. Something beneath the surface is moving. The prophet Hosea warned, "The earth is mourning, the animals of the field, the birds of the sky, and even the fish of the sea are disappearing." Coincidence? Or warning? Unexplained sounds, extreme storms, lights crossing the skies, structures discovered under the Panama Canal. Are they isolated signs, or pieces of a prophetic puzzle about to be revealed? And while the world tries to rationalize the chaos, few realize the urgency of what is at stake. In Matthew 24, Jesus declares, "When you see all these things, know that he is near at the doors." But the question that echoes now is, how many are paying attention to this door opening? If you are seeing the signs, leave a comment. And don't forget, if you want to understand what is really coming, subscribe. Because there are truths they don't want you to discover. If all that we are witnessing is indeed the fulfillment of ancient words, then perhaps we are no longer waiting for prophecies. Perhaps we are already within them. Isaiah described a time when the earth would stagger like a drunkard, swaying under the weight of human sin. Now, earthquakes occur in unlikely places, the weather swings in extreme cycles, and the sense of imminent collapse hangs in the air. But the most alarming thing is the speed at which everything has been happening. In less than a month, we have seen a mysterious accident in Washington, paralyzing storms, an unusual solar cycle, new epidemic outbreaks, and the escalation of conflicts in different regions of the globe. Revelation mentions that the fourth angel would pour out his bowl on the sun, allowing it to scorch men with fire. Are we witnessing this prophecy being revealed through unprecedented solar eruptions and their increasingly visible impacts on Earth? While many continue to believe that these are isolated events, others are beginning to see the hidden connections, pieces of a millennia-old puzzle that finally seem to fit together. Jesus compared the end times to the days of Noah, a time of distraction, mockery, and ignorance in the face of clear warnings. And now, more than ever, it seems we are repeating this story, ignoring the signs that are unfolding before our eyes. Modern technology, ironically, may be fulfilling an ancient prophecy. The vision of the two witnesses fallen in the streets and being seen by the entire world. Something impossible in the past, but trivial with today's networks. The book of Daniel also predicted an era in which knowledge would increase exponentially. Today, we move at unprecedented speeds, but we remain lost amid the excess of information. Meanwhile, earthquakes are emerging in places once considered safe, forgotten seismic lines are awakening, and Jerusalem is once again at the center of the world stage, just as Zechariah wrote. These events are not meant to fuel panic, but to awaken those who are still asleep. The goal is not to spread fear, but to remind that there is still a way. Peter wrote that the Lord is patient, waiting for everyone to have the chance to repent. But this patience has its limits. And if the countdown has already begun, how much time do we have left? This message is not just a narrative, it is a mirror, a direct call for each of us to examine our own hearts. Where are you now? Have you been ignoring signs that keep intensifying? Are you allowing yourself to slip into an empty spiritual routine? Jesus has already warned us about the danger of living in the illusion of stability. The parable of the 10 virgins was not told in vain. Half of them were ready, the other half trusted too much in tomorrow. And when the moment came, it was too late. This story is not just symbolic, it is an exact description of the urgency we are living now. The question is, are you keeping the light on? Or are you counting on the chance to catch up when the sky is already dark? Maybe this is the time to reassess everything. Nourish the spirit with prayer. Seek direction in the scriptures. Cut through the noise that distracts, and see clearly what is approaching. Because the signs are there, and they keep increasing. God raised watchmen in critical times. Ezekiel was one of them. Isaiah 2. Now it's your turn. The current generation needs someone to speak, not with anger, but with truth. Not with fear, but with firmness. God still places guardians on the walls, but they need to be vigilant. If you feel that this message awakens you, write, "I am ready now" in the comments and confirm your commitment to watch. This is not the time for hesitation. Jesus rebuked those who could predict the weather, but ignored the spiritual moment they were living in. We recognize the cloudy sky, but not the prophetic times that are unfolding before us. And that needs to change. The increase in disasters, social collapses, global divisions, everything is fitting together like a prophetic gear. In 2 Timothy, it is written that the last days would be marked by selfishness, moral decay, and a superficial faith. Does it sound familiar? If all of this is indeed coming to pass, then the time of waiting is over. And what Jesus said echoes louder than ever. As in the days of Noah, the rain did not come without warning. And today, the spiritual thunder is already rumbling. In Noah's time, everything seemed normal. People were busy with their own plans, weddings, parties, businesses. Nothing indicated that the world about to be destroyed was just hours away. And then the flood came, without warning for those who ignored the signs, without mercy for those who mocked the warnings. This is exactly the scenario that Jesus described for the end days. And if we compare it to the present, the similarities are frightening. We are distracted, chasing after pleasures, status, and comfort, while the earth groans with increasingly clear signs. The era of silence is over. The signs are everywhere, but few recognize them. Daniel spoke about a time when knowledge would multiply. We see this today, with billions of pieces of information available at the touch of a button. But despite this advancement, the deeper truth is being ignored. And this is not due to a lack of evidence, but to voluntary blindness. The book of Revelation speaks of a moment when the entire world will witness, at the same time, shocking events that defy logic. For centuries, this idea seemed impossible. Today, with a simple cell phone, any event anywhere in the world can be broadcast in real time. This is not theory, it's reality. Earthquakes are changing their pattern. Places once considered stable now shake frequently. Fault lines dormant for centuries are reactivating. Jesus had already said, there will be earthquakes in various places. And they are here now. Meanwhile, the Middle East continues to boil. Jerusalem, the city that God called his, remains at the center of the global conflict. Zechariah had already warned, it would become a cup of confusion for the nations. This prophecy is being fulfilled before our eyes. And the most alarming thing, all of this is happening at the same time. Like labor pains, the signs are intensifying. Each catastrophe, each division, each crisis is another reminder. We are not living in ordinary days. Timothy wrote that in the last days, love would grow cold, pride would dominate, and faith would be mere appearance. Read today's headlines. Look around you. Can you say that we are not living exactly this? And as if that weren't enough, something strange happened in the United States. A sign, a final warning? In the next segment, you will understand why this recent event could be the key piece of a puzzle that no one dares to put together. Last week, the sky over 4 major American cities changed color, literally. A reddish-purple hue, dense as clotted blood, covered the skies of Atlanta, Phoenix, Seattle, and Denver. Millions of people watched in silence. Some took photos, others just stood paralyzed in front of what seemed like an apocalyptic scene. But this phenomenon was not the only disturbing sign. Days before, in the heart of Texas, an inexplicable sound cut through the sky, like an empty metallic trumpet, which seemed to come from nowhere, not even from Earth. It was heard by hundreds of people, and soon after, tragedy struck. One of the worst floods in the state's history swallowed streets, entire neighborhoods, and claimed lives. The rain was not announced. No alert was issued. No meteorologist was able to predict what was coming. On the same night the sky turned crimson, residents of southern Louisiana reported a low rumble, almost like a lament from the planet itself. An internal tremor that did not come from underground, but seemed to vibrate straight into the soul. Coincidence? Or are we facing a series of clear and ignored signs? The scientists tried to justify. They blamed the dust, the pollution, the distant fires. But none of these theories explain why all these cities are so far apart and experience the same phenomenon at the same time. No natural explanation can justify the synchronization of sounds, lights, and catastrophic events in different parts of the globe. And if these events are not isolated, and if they are connected, in recent days, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck a region previously considered geologically stable. Before the quake, residents reported a dull and continuous hum, as if the planet were trying to speak or warn. Simultaneously, a new disease silently emerged in 7 countries. Fever, delirium, hallucinations. Doctors don't know where it came from, not even how to treat it. Meanwhile, economists point to an imminent financial collapse. Unstable banks, digital systems failing in a chain reaction, and stock market charts displaying patterns never before recorded. Incomprehensible symbols, as if something wanted to encode a message for those who know how to read. Amidst all this, reports emerge of mysterious inscriptions appearing in inhospitable places, deserts, glaciers, remote regions. They emit a pale, pulsating glow, almost like a heartbeat. Some say they are ancestral marks. Others believe they are seals. And on the quieter radio frequencies, voices whisper in a language no one can identify. The question that now echoes is, are we witnessing the unfolding of something much greater? Something that escapes common senses? Get ready, because what comes next might shake the foundations of reality. Something is stirring, in the sky, on the earth, and within us. The feeling that something invisible is approaching is no longer just emotional. It is becoming physical, real, tangible. A discomfort you feel without knowing where it comes from, like a whisper inside your chest. Ignoring it is dangerous. If you've already noticed that the world is different, write awakened in the comments. And share this video with someone who is still asleep, because the time to deny the obvious is over. On the other side of the planet, tectonic plates move as if they were in a panic. Earthquakes are no longer localized. They are appearing in unlikely places simultaneously. Storms are forming at an abnormal speed. The winds no longer obey the patterns we once knew. The seas are advancing. The ice caps are melting. The entire nature seems to be screaming. But the screams are not just physical. They are also spiritual. Jesus, according to the Gospel of Luke, warned of a time when people would be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. The word he used, aporia from ancient Greek, does not just mean confusion. It means a dead end, a crisis without a human solution. Today, world leaders find themselves exactly like this. Without direction, without answers, just empty speeches and temporary plans. The feeling of global chaos is leaving the world on the brink of collapse. But what if all of this isn't disorganization? And what if it is the realization of an ancient plan? A script written millennia ago? Because the signs are aligning exactly with the patterns described in the scriptures. Never before in modern history have so many events converged so precisely. And now, once again, the trumpets are being heard. In Texas, hundreds of witnesses reported hearing a terrifying sound, a metallic wail coming from the skies. There was no storm nor air traffic, just that deep sound, as if the sky were about to tear apart. Security cameras captured the echo. Videos spread. The sound returned days later in another city. Coincidence? Or a summons? These sounds are ancient. Very ancient. In the scriptures, the sound of the trumpets is a warning. 7 trumpets. 7 warnings. Each marking a new trial. The warnings that once seemed distant now echo louder and louder. In the book of Revelation, the 7 trumpets sound as milestones of judgment, and the first 4 focus on the physical world, striking creation with devastating force. But what if these signs were not just on ancient pages? And if they were already being played? The first trumpet describes fire and hail mixed with blood, consuming a third of the green plants. Sounds exaggerated? Now think. The wildfires that engulfed California, Australia, parts of Europe, and the Amazon rainforest destroyed millions of hectares. Cities were evacuated. Skies, once blue, have turned red with smoke and gray. The land is burning. The air has become poison. The green is disappearing. The second trumpet? A colossal object is cast into the sea, and a third of the waters becomes blood. In recent years, marine life has been disappearing at an alarming rate. Beaches have been stained with crimson hues due to red tides and toxic algae. Tons of dead fish cover the shores. The oceans, once sources of life, are becoming symbols of ruin. The third trumpet brings something even more sinister. A star called wormwood or absinthe falls from the sky, contaminating the fresh waters. Ancient rivers like the Euphrates and the Colorado are drying up before our eyes. Lakes are evaporating. Aquifers are polluted by invisible chemicals. Water, the most basic resource of existence, is now under threat. We are drowning in scarcity. Then the fourth trumpet silences the heavens. A third of the light disappears. The sun, the moon, and the stars are struck. In recent years, the world has witnessed extraordinary eclipses, blood moons, and sudden darkness in the middle of the day. It's as if the very sky is trying to warn us. Something is coming. And then the lobsters. A swarm of biblical proportions descended upon farms in the United States. Farmers, desperate, watched their crops disappear in minutes. Skies darkened by wings. Devastated fields. The silent chaos of a future famine beginning to take shape. In the apocalypse, the fifth trumpet releases creatures like locusts, but not ordinary ones. Creatures that not only devour crops but torment men themselves. Do you still believe that all of this is a coincidence? Or are these trumpets already sounding, one by one, and the world is simply refusing to listen? The prophetic words of Isaiah 19 verse 2 warn of a time when the Egyptians will rise against the Egyptians, brother against brother, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. This prophecy describes a scenario of internal division, social collapses, and devastating conflicts, exactly what we see gaining strength today. The world is more fragmented than ever. Families are divided by beliefs, societies are in constant conflict, and cities, once centers of stability, now face growing chaos. This rupture is not just political or economic, it is spiritual. It is an ancient sign, foretold millennia ago, unfolding right before our eyes. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to Timothy, also left a grim description of the last days. He warned that the world would witness an era of moral decay, so profound that the very essence of humanity would be corrupted. People loving themselves above all, obsessed with money, arrogant, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, cruel, treacherous, impulsive, and enemies of the truth. This description couldn't be more current. Just look around. It's all there. in the news, on social media, in everyday life. This is not just a modern crisis. It is the materialization of the prophecies that were recorded to warn a generation that believed it would have all the time in the world.